Hey guys, I'm going to talk about the movie Oppenheimer. I'm not going to get really into some big review of it. Instead, I'm just going to talk about some things that were kind of shown in the movie but not really explored because it's already a 3-hour movie. This is Christopher Nolan's longest movie so far. I think Interstellar is his second longest. It was 2 hours and 47 minutes, except that one had a lot more action. This is very dialogue heavy. His movies are getting longer. So I'm going to talk about little things that were kind of shown in the movie but not fully explored. I'm not going to give any spoilers. I may talk about or mention one thing, but if I do, I'll do it at the very end, and I'll give a warning before I say it. So first thing is the Apple incident. So this is shown in the beginning of the movie, and I guess you could say this isn't really a spoiler because it doesn't lead to anything, and it happens in the beginning of the movie. So Oppenheimer is going to school in Cambridge. He has an instructor that irritates him. When no one's in the room, he goes to they're in a lab, and he gets a container of potassium cyanide. He injects the potassium cyanide in the apple. Did this happen? Yes, it did happen. We know this because Oppenheimer admitted it, and it was a big deal. Did it happen the way it did in the movie? No. Like I said, Oppenheimer admitted it, and it was a big deal. So what really happened is, first of all, we're not really sure if it was potassium cyanide or some other chemical that he injected in the apple that would have just gotten the instructor sick. But he was found out, and he was almost thrown in jail, basically, and definitely kicked out of school. The only reason that didn't happen is that his family happened to be visiting him when this incident happened, and basically his father and mother talked the school into letting him stay, and they probably bribed them. They probably bribed them because Oppenheimer's family was loaded. Okay, so another incident. At some point, we see Oppenheimer visit Albert Einstein. So Einstein's walking with a guy, and he says, "This is Kurt Gödel." So who is Kurt Gödel? He's a mathematician. He's born in 1906 in Austria, when Austria was the Austro-Hungarian Empire. And Einstein makes this remark. Oh, by the way, and Gödel's known for the incompleteness theorem, which is this big discovery in mathematics, which basically says that no mathematical system can be complete. I don't have time to explain it, and I'm not going to try to explain. Even if I did, I wouldn't do a very good job. But whatever, right? So anyway, Einstein makes kind of this offhand comment saying that, Gödel's paranoid and that he doesn't even want to eat because he thinks the Nazis can reach him from even there. Okay, so what is that about? Now that is kind of a throwaway line, but it actually it's kind of dark. So Gödel came over to the United States, I think in 1936, and before he came over, he was teaching at the University of Vienna. And he had a friend who was also a professor at Vienna, a guy named Maurice Schlick, who was a physics and philosophy professor. And I think, Gödel left because when the fascists started taking over, he dipped. And Maurice Schlick stuck around. And I think he was speaking out against the fascist regime, and one of his students murdered him. And this triggered Gödel's probably a pre-existing mental illness and made it worse. So for the rest of his life, Gödel was very, very paranoid. So this came to a head actually in 1977 when Gödel's wife was hospitalized. By this point, Gödel would only eat his wife's cooking. He refused to eat any other food because he thought that someone was trying to poison him. So when his wife goes into the hospital, he doesn't eat. And at this point, he's 71 years old. He hadn't quite made it to 72. He's 71 years old, and he dies from malnutrition. When he died, he was only about 65, 70 pounds. His wife, ironically enough, made it out of the hospital, and lived until 1981. Okay, so one other thing in the movie. So they're shown recruiting this physicist played by Jack Quaid. I don't know if they ever say what his name is in the movie, but the same physicist, on several occasions, they show him playing bongos. And actually, when they do the detonation of at the Trinity test site, he's like, sitting in the car and like, I don't need to shield this. The glass is going to, protect from the radiation or something like that. But on several occasions, they show him playing the bongos. And if you don't know who that is Richard Feynman. And he is a very, very interesting person. So he would actually go on to win the Nobel Prize in Physics, I believe, in 1967. And that is a thing he would do with the bongos. He was known for playing the bongos way into the night, annoying the hell out of everybody. He would play pranks. He was loud. He was whatever. That was the thing he was doing. He's always playing those bongos late into the night, pissing everybody off. Later on in life, he was actually involved in the investigation of the Challenger explosion and discovering or proving the failure of the O-rings in the solid rocket boosters. And I believe he died in 1989. So he has several books that he's written about his life that I've read. One of them is Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman. I don't know if he wrote that. Maybe someone else wrote that one. He may have not written that one. I should look that up. I'll put the book cover there. But anyway, check it out. It is a very, very amusing book. It's very, very funny. And he does talk about his time in the Manhattan Project, but he was a very interesting guy. Honestly, I think of all the characters in this movie, he may be one of the more interesting ones. But the movie was called Oppenheimer, not Feynman. So anyway, that's some things that weren't covered in the movie in detail, and I just wanted to share.